Did you know that oftentimes your luck in Dragon City and other video games is actually not really related to RNG or luck at all? It's actually possible for you to know what's going to be coming up inside your next times 30, times 12, or even your next times 60 chest in all of these events. And the reason for that is because although it says you have a guaranteed reward and the others are random rewards, Dragon City actually pretty much acts like a seed-based game. But that being said, there are some exceptions, such as Wizard's Hollow, which do not actually use seeds, but a lot of the event chests and other things in this game are actually predetermined. And it turns out there can't be all that many seeds because Dragon City players end up finding their RNG twins quite frequently. And an RNG twin is someone that gets the exact same event chest drops as you every single time because you're running on the same seed. So essentially, if you have a pay-to-win friend that's opened up 16 event chests, you'll know what every single one of your chest drops is going to be if you share the same seed and therefore you are RNG twins. So just so that it makes a bit more sense why I'm using the word seed here, because people use a few different words to talk about it, but a seed in terms of video games, as you can see here, says in video games using procedural world generation, the map seed is a relatively short number or text string which is used to procedurally create the game world map. So we don't have maps in Dragon City, but what we do have are event chests that work in a very similar way. In Minecraft, for example, if you've ever gone to create a new world and you go to the seed for the world generator, you can type in whatever the heck you want in there, any characters, text, or whatever. And if you type that in, you can regenerate that world every single time and it will be the same because you've used the same seed for that world generation. So every time you'll get the same world, which is also the way that people actually set up speedruns in Minecraft. And this is used in tons and tons of games, even Binding of Isaac, for instance. You can see that there is a seed towards the top left there of CEGQD1XB. And again, you could have typed in a different seed or anything that you wanted in order to play the exact same map as your friend, for instance. So this isn't a new concept. It is very, very common in video games for this to happen. I guess the difference is that Dragon City is a live service video game, and when people are opening up these chests, they expect that these chests are going to be completely random. But in a way, this is actually better for you as a player that they're not actually random. Because one major reason why this is a really, really good thing that these chests are going to be predetermined every time is because, say you lose connection, so like you go to open a chest right now and then your internet drops out. If you were to reload the game and those chests were truly random, whatever drop you just got, you wouldn't be guaranteed to get it the second time. However, because of this, it means that even if you were to lose connection, every single time you reopen it, it will have the same drop. So imagine if you opened up a 60 chest and you got high gamma guard out of it, and then your internet disconnected, you reload, you open it again, and instead all that you get is like, I don't know, high flying. You would hate yourself, right? So that is one big, big clear benefit of having it in this way. Another really big benefit of having it in this format is that if you ever go to contact support in the little help section, not that they're always the most helpful, but it means that support actually knows what your drops were. So you also aren't able to lie to support about what your chest drops were. So, I don't know, do you see that as a good thing or a bad thing? I personally see it as a good thing because it means that you can claim something and support knows that you are actually owed that object or item. But it does mean that you also aren't able to lie to them about what you are due to have. Now, do I overall feel that it's a negative thing that chest drops are predetermined? Honestly, I don't. I do see it as an overall good thing for this game. And again, there are some situations in which it is not relevant and it is truly random, like Wizard's Hollow, and people all the time love to say, oh, Wizard's Hollow's rigged, this and that. But from everything we've ever seen from Wizard's Hollow, all the evidence points to the fact that Wizard's Hollow is actually now random. At one point, it may not have been, but now it is. So Wizard's Hollow is one of the exception cases. There are also some other exception cases in the game, but if we're talking about event drops, those event drops with like the times 60 chest drops and things like that, it is possible to find another player with the exact same drops as you. And this, I also think, is another good point about why it can be helpful to players or just useful for players as a whole. Because if you ever felt like your RNG is awful in the game, or do you feel like your RNG has actually been really good? Well, in that case, there is a very good chance that another person in the community is actually having the exact same experience as you. The only difference would be whether one of you is pay to win, one of you is free to play, how much you log in, but having players that have the exact same chest drops, not everyone, there is obviously some level of variety and not everyone has the exact same chest drops, but for those of you that share the same chests, it means that you have a shared experience. So no matter how screwed over you feel, there is always someone out there that's having the same experience as you. Again, I guess you could take that either way, either as a positive or negative thing. Personally, I think it's nice that there's a community of people that are also suffering in the exact same way as yourself. But the reason why this becomes relevant is, again, because if you've got players out there that have the same drops as you, well, surely there is a way for you to be able to work out who those players are and be able to know what your upcoming chest drops are. And yes, you'd be correct. So there has been a few different Discord servers, Facebook groups and things over time that have had similar ideas for finding RNG twins. I have recently opened one in my own Discord server, so if you are someone that wants to be in the server or wants to take advantage of this, feel free, as long as you follow all the server rules and everything else, of course. But essentially, just a place for you to be able to post what your recent event drops were. So say the last 5 or 6 event chests, then you can post them into these channels, and then anyone that also was like, oh, I got the exact same chest drops as you for my last 4 chests, we must be RNG twins. And this allows you to actually get in contact with those people, message them, and say one of you decides to spend money, and then you can go, hey dude, what's my next times 30 chest drop? And they can tell you that straight away. So I think it's definitely something that has its uses, and I would highly recommend someone that say, if you want to know what your next chest drop is, because, you know, say you are currently doing quests, for instance. Say you're doing quests for Pulse Guard or any of the other guard dragons, and you need to know if your next chest drop is going to drop Pulse Guard or orbs, or if it's going to drop Veil Guard orbs or a full drop for a particular dragon. The only way you're actually going to know that is if someone informs you of it in advance, because if you don't have an RNG twin that's already ahead of you, well, at that point, you're pretty much just opening up chests randomly, and in that sense, they are still random because you don't know what the actual result is going to be. Of course, the fact that it's predetermined doesn't change the fact that inherently they are still loot box chests. So at some stage when they were created, when the seed for you as players was generated, it would have been randomly generated, I assume, and not manually selected by members of Social Point. I doubt they're going through and hand-picking each of them. Maybe they did, but I find that unlikely. But it does mean that you can go and know what your drops are. So just as long as you know that this is how RNG as a whole works in this game, it's not truly random for the event chests. Other things are random, but in a way this may help you to come to terms with any bad sets of drops that you've gotten over time. Like if you keep getting times 100 drops for dragons you've already E5'd, if you get 4 same dragon drops in a row, like when I got Maeve, I think it was 3 or 4 times in a row along with a times 100 drop. Those were dire times, very dire times. But if you can help someone else and let them know what they can achieve in terms of their questing, I think it can be really, really vital for free-to-play players if they want to be as optimal as possible. Personally, I don't care to know what my RNG twins are because I don't want to spoil the surprise. But if you are very, very much focused on optimizing your gameplay and getting as much as you can free to play, you would want to find out who your RNG twins are. So like I said, if you do want to use the Discord server and you're fine with all the rules and everything, feel free to join. Otherwise, we do have the other places that still have them, but I don't think they're really managed anymore. But either way, I've opened up the possibility for people to post their screenshots here, so feel free to use it if you like. Even if you only just use the DC RNG Twins and Dragon City News and DC Event Guides channels, you can do that if you want and just mute everything else. Whatever works best for you. But I will see if we get some more participants in the RNG channel over the next few days and see how handy it is for everyone. Again, it's a very, very, I guess you could say, specific thing, but I guess it does help to understand generally a big part of how this game works. And since I'm someone that does not support this game being played by kids, because it does have RNG loot boxes in it and things like that, I will do my best always to inform people of how the RNG in this game works. And that's same with any game. I did the same with DML, I'll do the same with Dragon City, I do it with every video game I've ever played in my life because I hate RNG loot boxes as a whole. I hate the entire concept behind them, and I don't think any game that has these sorts of loot boxes in them should be available to children, and that includes kids up to 16, to be completely honest with you, because in a random single player game it doesn't matter, but when you've got a game like this where you're spending real money and real currency on it, I think it is a big problem. So the more you know about how things in the game work and the more money you can save or be completely free to play, I see that as a win-win for everyone in the community. But anyway, I digress. I just wanted to get that out there as another topic on the list of videos that have been planned for a good old while. So let me know if this was something that is new news to you, it's something you already knew, or something that you didn't really understand. But I have to say, I've got some cool Minecraft worlds out there with some seeds of words that I can't even remember now, but I'm sure I'll be able to find them again one day. One day we'll go back.